Hello everyone, my name is AP the Weird One. Welcome back to episode 3 of Digimon Beat Break, Facing Mirrors. Another good episode. Unfortunately, no Digivolution for Geckomon, but it's perfectly understandable given our man character Tomoro, his backstory and everything. This is more of another info dump episode. Not a bad one. It's actually a good one. We definitely needed to have this conversation. Some definitely growth of character, and also it leads to future kind of developments where the series is going to go. A couple main things that we're going to discover, we'll talk a little about the end, but there's some fun stuff. Anyway, we see that tomorrow, Tenma, he is an old school man. He likes listening to music through tape recorders. He is very old school. He's not a big fan of the current technology. It kind of makes sense given that he does not like Sapotamas or AI. He's just very against it. He's very old school. But, while he's sleeping, his little friend Geckomon has made a disaster. He's a housebroken mess. Something I forgot to mention the previous episode is that Geckomon likes to eat human food, even though it's not necessarily required for Digimon. He just enjoys human food, which is kind of funny considering Digimon has always liked human foods. They're maybe just it just tastes so much better, and even though it doesn't necessarily fill them, it's just nice. There's something about the taste is this refreshing smell, everything. It just works for Geckomon. He just likes to have it. And it potentially gives him some energy. You never know. Digimon like to do their fair share of human food. But, it's good that it's not required that they can have human food. They just have E-pulse. But anyway, he ate a lot and everything. And, he ate everything. He pretty much ate. He ate like a week's worth of food. Bad Geckomon. But so unfortunately, because of that, he's like, you have to take care of him. He's your responsibility. You have to count for them. He doesn't. They use them. Geckomon's clearly being whatever. Minor thing. Anyway, like you have to. It's your responsibility. You got to pay for the bill. You got to pay for food, help food sources. And we do discover that not everyone does do the cooking in the house. Like Kyo doesn't necessarily cook, or sometimes Reina does, but they go fishing. And I absolutely love this moment because they're using spinning reels instead of using a stupid stick on a fishing line. Like you use some actual fishing rods, and they're actually using something that have been like bait casters, the one that the big barrel they're using spinning reels. They're using a different variety of fishing rod. I love that. Very cool moment, but it's in this moment that we kind of learn, because, they're AI, Digimon are kind of like that, they're fishing, and Pristimon tells Reina to go fish in this location, and then Tomoro's like, no, and because he doesn't like AI, he doesn't like this, and it's mainly stemmed because of his special E-pulse. It causes things to go haywire, like when he was a kid and he didn't want to eat broccoli, he caused all the other Sepotamas, he touched it, and then did everything bad, and the same thing with the piano. And this is going to be important. What I'm going to discuss a little bit later, that how he influences other different Sapotamas. We'll get to a bit of a theory that I have. But there's a different reason, he has his reasons to not like it. And I suspect that if he had the choice choosing of not having, if he could take out the mechanism in his hand that gives him, that causes the E-pulse, he'd probably take away, he would get rid of it. He doesn't like this society. It's just kind of a conjecture considering the problems, but he's not happy that everybody has to have this device in them. But so he's not very trusting of AI. And this day and age, AI can't be trusted, and many people do see Digimon as AI. They don't see it as a mere creature, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, so he's very distrusting. Anyway, Reina has a very cute moment, and that she accidentally gets a piece of junk, and then she has a very cute moment and causes a little bit of disaster. I love this moment. It was very cute. But yeah, Reina does have her feminine side to her. Anyway, we meet this new guy. He's so when they have to go get money, to go get bounties for cleaning. I was gonna look this guy up actually. Hold on. Give me one sec. Anyway, we meet this guy. All right, so they have to get bounties, and it's not through normal public online. They have to find an info broker. They have a girl named Maki who runs a bar known as Garando, and they have another friend known as Yoshimura, who kind of looks like Faba from Pokemon Sun and Moon. I have a bit of similarity. Not that I'm complaining, but anyway, he makes the joke, hey, Reina, is this guy your new boyfriend? So there's the shipping, and that she's had boyfriends in the past. So we'll be saying, and he's got some nice sunglasses. But what's interesting about him is that he has an old school car with gasoline, and kind of reminds me of Dimension W, and how Kyo had a I think that's Kyo. Hold on. Let me look that up for a sec. Cute. It's maybe I'll make it a little bigger. It's Kiyoma Mabuchi. So not almost there, but slightly. So he kind of just reminds me of that, like how he had an old school gasoline car. Same here. But yeah, so we got shipping involved, and we got some other business. But yeah, we got a kind of cute moment. But they have to talk to info brokers, and kind of a special thing is that because the government knows about the Digimon and everything, you can have this big display, like it tells you the bounty of all the Digimon that are there. But one of the things that we also learn is that humans, of course, get this error code, like, hey, this you obviously have the Sapotama has created a Digimon that's an error. Please bring it in, and we'll get rid of it. However, it's not a crime to own it, except if you use it for crime. I kind of feel like it's a little bit of BS, considering Gekomon didn't have a crime or anything. I don't know. I think if maybe the implication is if you go in and tell them, like, hey, I have this problem, I want to keep it. Potentially, there seemed to be a little bit of contradicting of information there. And this, when they were talking about the Sapotama that belongs to Tomorrow's brother, they had like some really confusing wording, like it doesn't make sense. But basically, his Sapotama has got like 300,000 credits, and that the person who has it hasn't brought it in. Basically, is what I was getting at. Like, they're a bit confusing. I don't know the wording anyway, to me at least. But so yeah, we learned. I like this little visual, and we can also like see the through the visuals we can see like Digimon, their at like attributes, like what level they are through this microscope, and like what crimes they've committed. So manner of speaking, it's very cool. I like that. But anyway, he sees that the earring, one that stole the girl that he infected, she's only worth 500 credits, which is like, it's nothing. They need something a little bit more substantial. But Tomorrow, being a good guy, like, he wants to make up for what he's done, he goes off to it. Now, of course, it does change because the mushroom guys, they lost their Chambomon, so now the bounty's gone up. And it's like, and Mako's like, you just want to have an excuse to go after him, like, because she wants to do the right thing, and maybe she's got a crush on Tomorrow. But yeah, so they go chase after him. Anyway, we get a fight between Hyaenamon, who's now become Fangmon. He's Digivolved into Hyaenamon's Digivolved into Fangmon, and we get this brilliant shot of Gekomon stealing Fangmon's one of the Potamas from him. Just absolutely brilliant. And I think one complaint is how did Gekomon defeat a champion level Digimon? Well, in the profile book, it's mentioned that Gekomon can beat opponents stronger than him. On top of that, it's a bit of established lore, and that Digimon that just Digivolve aren't as strong. So I think that's another factor. Like, yeah, he just Digivolved. He's not going to be as strong if he had played around. And I think that's even in Digimon video games, when they reset to level 1, that's sort of an indication where, yes, they are stronger, but they're not better. But like, if you have constant Digivolution, you're gonna get stronger. So I think that's the implication, what they're going with. But yeah, it's a fun scene. Fangmon tries to do some mirror business, but it doesn't work. But we learned more about what this world is that they're inhabiting. It's called the Mirror World. And it's basically like a sect of online, and Digimon can get into it through rifts. So it's not the actual digital world. It's like in Digimon Star Cyber Sleuth, they had like the different little dimensions, like the areas in the internet. It sort of sticks like that, like Calhoun. In a similar vein, that seems like what it's similar to. But yeah, and it's through this battle that Tomorrow trusts Gekomon to an extent. Although we're gonna get to a little bit of a theory next, because after he's de-digivolved, Tomorrow wants to kill this dude. He wants Fangmon to die. Because he's digivolved back into a Punimon, just a little fresh in training 1. He wants to get rid of him. And it's like, and Glowing Dawn's like, no, we don't have this. He tries to explain to him like if we let this guy go, he's gonna commit other crimes. And you can definitely see what Tomorrow's got a very valid point. If you let, and it's so interesting especially today's society, where like if someone does something evil and like instead of just putting them in jail, like we should just execute him. Like he has understand that mindset, and a lot of people just don't. Especially with some recent killings of people, like the culprits aren't, they're not being put down. Tomorrow he understands, like he wants to kill them, but that's not Glowing Dawn's method. And he through his e-pulse, he causes Gekomon to kind of dark, gonna go on a little bit of rampage, and he will fight Masamuimon, who kind of does eventually put him down. And they basically explains that Glowing Dawn doesn't, and from this fight, he explains that Glowing Dawn doesn't see Digimon as mere II or anything to dispose of. Like our job, like we have the one rule of no killing. We see them as something more. And like they're willing to give him a second chance, essentially. Which we'll see how far that goes. I'm very curious to both Kyo and even the others. Is there a drawing point? But I want to bring up a theory. So I know, and I mentioned the possibility of Dark Digivolution. I still think that's going to happen. And I know there was a person that kind of like, that he doesn't want Gekomon to Dark Digivolve it. Someone else should do it. Here's my shtick. I think Dark Devolution is going to happen. When it happens is to be undetermined. But I do think at some point the catalyst is gonna be Tomorrow because of his different e-pulse. I don't think someone else is gonna do it, but it's possible that he could cause someone else's Sapotama to cause a Dark Evolution. We could see Chirotmon Dark Digivolution because of Tomorrow's actions or something. Because we saw that his e-pulse can radiate to other individuals, like through the piano playing, like it infects his Sapotama. So we could see multiple, or maybe he grabs Chirotmon or like another Digimon and then causes Dark Digivolve. That's something I'm kind of curious about, because they played around with a Ghost game where different partners can use the other person's Digimon, necessarily not necessarily to Digivolve, but like they can give them commands and everything. And I think they're expanding upon it. Maybe we'll see Tomorrow will be able to cause some sort of Digivolution or like Dark Digivolution. Like he'll do something. I definitely think his e-pulse is going to be a lot more story important, and then definitely more for Digivolution. Maybe he'll cause an enemy to Digivolve or something. They've opened the door for a lot of possibilities. Maybe we'll see the polar opposite of a Dark Digivolution. Maybe we'll see a redemption. I'm liking where this is going, but it's going to be a good time. I like what they're creating. Another thing that I liked is Chirotmon's like ability analysis. Like it shows like all the details. Like it shows like Fangmon having the 2 Sapotamas. Like it could do an infrared. They also play a little bit off the real world. Like the girls Sapotama, the reason they're not kind of going after it because it's potentially already been dissolved, but because he could smell it and could smell the Haimon because he still has the e-pulse. Maybe he hasn't digested, like sort of like real life, how hyenas will keep bones around. So there's the real life implication as well. Like nature, I love the little details. There's just so many little details that's going on. How things are structured. I like this world building. It was really nice. Another little details, we know that Maki used to be the info broker. We see a nice look of her. She used to be she used to be a cleaner. So that's been happening for many years. Maybe her partner got deleted. Maybe we'll learn a little bit more. Maybe something will happen with Dark Digivolution. Maybe she caused her partner to go outrage or something. I don't know. the episode gave us a lot of details that I'm looking forward to how it expanded. Maybe we know something a little bit more about Yushiro. I just overall really love this. I really like this episode. It was very, very fun. 4 out of 5 moments for me. Just lots of good details and things to keep going. And at the end of the day, Tomorrow definitely developed a friendship with Gekomon. He calls him Gekomon. He calls him his partner. And so I definitely think we needed to have that established moment before the champion forms come. When that's going to happen is not sure. We'll keep saying maybe in the next episode. I'm not sure, but we're definitely going to go. But I like where Tomorrow's can go. He's willing to execute bad Digimon. I'm curious if he's going to... Will he disobey Kyo's orders? Maybe there's like a Digimon that steps out of the line. Like Lucamon or something. Like something that's super evil. Maybe like the ape or Gokumon stole his brother Sapotama. Maybe he'll just say, no, this guy stole my brother Sapotama. Fuck you. I want him dead. Kyo Tomorrow understands it, but I'm wondering if he will, I'll respect that to a degree, but I'm going to have my pull-out trigger. Listen, I've just rambled long enough. There was just a lot of talk about this episode. There was just so much good detail. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully have a wonderful day. Keep, like, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, catch you guys for the next episode.